In today's video, we're going to be doing a review of the Covert Companion Pro made by Covert Instruments. Before we get started, I just want to say I'm not a brand ambassador for Covert Instruments. I'm not sponsored by Covert Instruments. All opinions are my own. I didn't buy this one. They did send this to me, but there was no agreement that I would do a review on it. There was no agreement that I would feature it in any of my videos, although I have chosen to do so. The reason I like doing reviews is that I can look at a product, I can show you exactly what's in it, and I can give my opinion on it, and hopefully that helps you decide whether that product is for you. So let's get into the review. The tool comes in this snazzy cardboard box. So we've got this little tab here which we pull to get access. Not too interested in the packaging because we are interested in the tool itself. So what is the Covert Companion Pro? Well, it is the new and improved version of the Covert Companion, which has been out for a few years. And the Covert Companion is I'd get in trouble if I said it was a jackknife tool. It's a multi-tool for people who are interested in opening locks. So that could be a locksmith, it could be emergency services, it could be a lock sporter like myself, someone who's interested in getting in locks in various different ways. Now, before we get into looking at all the tools that come in with this, I'm just going to compare these two tools quickly because this was quite a popular tool, and as you can see, it's been completely redesigned. We'll first of all have a look at the weight. Hopefully my scales are zeroed. So the old Covert Companion, or at least this one, weighs 54 grams. And the new Covert Companion weighs 136 grams. So as you can see, it's quite a lot heavier than the old version. Let me just get rid of those scales. Now, I think that's a good thing. I did comment when I did an unboxing video of this tool that it was really weighty. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. It feels really quite substantial. I spoke to Rob at Covert Instruments and he said all the tools are made out of 301 high yield stainless steel, which is a really good product for making picks and indeed bypass tools. And the actual body of the tool is aluminium. I've got to say, right out of the box, it's really quite well made. I was really impressed with it when I first opened it up. I do, really appreciate some good engineering, and you can see that this tool has been through many R&D, that's research and development, meetings to get it looking this nice. The old tool was quite simple, and it shares a lot of the tools of the new one, but the old tool just had these two covers, and you've got two kind of pivot points, if you like, there, and all of the tools folded out from that. And then you sort of folded them back in and they got a little bit tangled up. So the new one seems to be very much improved. So what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to go through the tools that are in here. Then we'll do some picking, then we'll talk about price of it, and also talk about some pros and some cons that I've found with this tool since playing with it. As you saw with the original Covert Companion, everything folds down together, and one of my complaints, I did do a review on this one, is that all of those tools do get a bit mangled and tangled as you're using them. So that has been changed on the new one. You've essentially got 4 different tabs that fold out. So we've got one there, this one here, we've got this one here, and this one here. The only addition to it is this. If you just reach in there, we have got the notch decoder. That's for combination locks. I'll show you how that works a little bit later. So you've got these 4 areas. Now, this one here is the folding utility pick, and we'll go through this fully a little bit later, but that just slides out of there. You've got some single pin picking hooks and some wave rakes in there, and it slides rather satisfyingly into that little cover there. We've got a little spring notch there, if you like, and we push it in and that holds it well. Just here we've got tension tools or turning tools to go with these tools here, and then we've got a series of bypass tools here and a series of bypass tools there, and that's pretty much it. So let's go through some of these tools, and I'm also going to get some opens. First up, we're going to look at the bypass tools. So I'm going to put the FU pick, the folding utility pick, away and just concentrate on these tools here. So we've got comb picks. If I just get them out, I'll just fan all of these tools out. I think that's all the ones on this side. We've got a dimple rake just there. They work really well for dimple locks. Let me just grab a really cheap dimple lock and I'll show you how easily these can work. This one here, this dimple lock here, I don't even need a tensioner. I just put it in and wiggle it and just that easy. Yeah, we got that lock open. We have got a traveller's hook just there. And I've got to say, I don't really get any use out of that. I think it's more intended for the North American market. Quite a lot of our locks in this country are shielded, or you can't get access to use this tool because the locks just seem to be a little bit tougher on this side of the pond. Then we've got some comb picks which work well in some locks. The locks they work well in, I mean this is a 4-pin one, you can just see there's 4 stumps on there. Works well in the master lock 410, you just put it in like that, lift it up and turn it. And that tool should open pretty much every master lock 140, sorry. That you could come across. Now in my collection I've not been able to make any of these tools work. Comb picks either work or they don't. It just is more of a reflection on the locks that I've got rather than any failings on the tool. It's nice to have them on there. Moving over to the other side, that was everything on that side, wasn't it? Moving over to the other side, we have got these tools here. I'll just quickly say actually that these tools here, they all come out on this little carrier here, which is nice. I did find with the old one it's very difficult to sort of go in and you know, select a single tool. With this one you can just pull out all of those tools like that, slip the carrier back and just have a look at what you've got. So what have you got here? So this one here is for bypassing padlocks. I'll just demonstrate that on this 1100 padlock. You stick that straight into the back of the lock, all the way down past the pins. Difficult to do when you need to film it. And there we go. It reaches inside, it grabs hold of this the actuator there, bypasses all of the pins that you would traditionally pick, and just opens them up. Now that's not going to work on all padlocks, but that's true of pretty much or most of the bypass tools that you will come across, not just on the Covert Companion, but bypass tools in general. They either work or they don't. But the idea is that you've got most of the most common ones on this tool to sort of open up locks. Now, I did actually use this bypass tool to pick open a dimple lock. I'm just going to show it opening up there just on the left. I'd really like to see a dimple lock addition to the Covert Companion Pro in the future. A little bit of modification to this, a little bit of filing, which I'm not going to do because I'd ruin that bypass tool. Would make a dimple flag, so that you could reach into dimple locks and single pin pick them. I'd really like to see that. So let's have a look at the other tools that's the wrong one, that came on that side. So we had the bypass tool. We've got a couple of jigglers. Now jigglers are really great for wafer locks. They work well in locks similar to this one, that you can get them in and you just sort of wiggle and jiggle them and give them a bit of a turn. Just that easy, you can open up some locks. Moving on from the jigglers, we've got 3 different shaped ones there. We have got the bypass knife. Now that works well on locks like this one here, which are unshielded. And if I can get this right, sometimes it works really quickly and sometimes, there you go. You can just reach right down the back of the lock, again bypassing all of the pins that traditionally lock a lock, and you've got this little sort of spring plunger there. You reach down into that, press it, and that one opens up just that easy. So the other tools that are on this side, yeah, we've gone through the bypass, we've gone through the jigglers, we've gone through the bypass knife. So what we're left with is 4 skeleton keys. Now skeleton keys work with warded locks similar to this one. If you've got a key that looks something like that, which is more unusual than your regular key, if you like, that looks something like that, then it's probably a warded lock. So I think you've just got to play with these and find the one that works with your warded lock. You've got 4 different types to choose from, but you just reach all the way down the back of the padlock, and there we go, find the actuator, and the shackle pops open just that quick. And we've got one more, we've got 2 more actually, bypass tools. We've got this one here, which is a padlock shim. Sorry, not a padlock shim, it's a handcuff shim. It can be used to shim various things, but it does work really well on handcuffs. Handcuffs work on a ratchet system, so I can push it that way. but once it's locked, I can't pull it the other way. So it goes all the way through that way, but it won't come out. Unless it is you reach down with this shim, push down with that, bypassing that ratchet mechanism altogether. And the other bypass tool I was going to show you was this little tool here. So the notch decoder did come in the old Covert Companion, but it was in there with all the other tools, and it was because it's so thin. There's a good chance that it gets bent. So what they've done is move it to this location, and I think they are going to be selling these separately, so you could order one if it does get bent. Now, where is my combination lock? There it is. So it only works on certain locks. This particular lock, the combination is 0182. I've stuck it on there because this is just one for me to practice with. As you can see, that isn't the combination that's in there. And with this tool, we reach in somewhere. I think it might be there. You've got to give it a little bit of a wiggle. You don't want to go in at an angle like that. You kind of want to go in straight, but it's not always easy to get it in. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. Sometimes it helps to turn the wheel around. Let's see if that works. There we go. I just got in at a better angle. So you go to that kind of angle like that, press the shackle down, lift it up, and there we go. The shackle opens. Having looked at the bypass tools, let's have a look at the single pin picking options and indeed raking options that come with the Covert Companion Pro. So our turning tools or tensioners sit on this side. They're all held in rather snugly. They're not going to fall out when you initially open the tool. To get the tensioners out, you lift this little flap there, and then all of your tensioners come out of this recess on the other side. Nicely engineered. And then we've got the folding utility pick, which slides out rather satisfyingly from the other side. Now, we're just going to compare this FU pick to the Riv pick, because the Riv pick used to come in the old Covert Companion. Came with 4 profile options, which pivoted around this rivet here, hence the name Riv pick. But although it's a nice size pick, there's nothing to lock that in place, so it can be a little bit awkward sometimes when you use that tool. So that's been changed on the new tool. So we've got more profiles. Just quickly show the profiles that we got there. We've got this gentle reach hook, which is not a common profile a lot of the times. Generally with single pin picking you'd have short, medium and deep hooks. But it's a nice addition, I think, because a tool like that comes in really helpful sometimes. And I think a lot of the times I'd favour that tool over a short hook. We'll demonstrate these tools in a minute. On the other side, we have got, on the back, we've got these 2 wave rakes. So we've got a 5-peak rake and a 4-peak rake, and I'll just lock one of those into position. And as you can see, when you put it down like that, it locks into place with this sprung hook just there. That hook goes into a little notch on the back of the tool, and that locks it into place. So yeah, really, really stiff. I can't feel any wiggle at all on that. I think on some of the tools I've felt the tiniest bit of wiggle, but it's really, really minimal. It does feel like a really stiff pick to use. I will say that if we compare it to the old Riv pick, it's a lot shorter. So the handle is a lot shorter, probably by about 1/2 inch, I'd say. And the pick shaft is a lot longer. So it's just the way the tool's been designed. I think, that's like a halfway point that it's been designed to sort of fold around. But it does mean that if you've got large hands like mine, I think I found the old Riv pick a little bit on the short side, but the new one, it's kind of difficult to use sometimes because it's not quite got that length of handle. I don't think there's much you can do about that, because if you made that handle bigger, then the whole tool is going to be bigger and costs go up, etc, etc. Anyway, so those are our picking tools. Let's have a look at the tensioners. Now these all come with markings on them. Can see 2 of the markings there. So we've got 50 thousandths, 32 thousandths, 25 thousandths and 40 thousandths of an inch thicknesses to go in a variety of different keyways. And these are billed as a 3-in-1 tensioner, and I think it's because the shorter end is a top of the keyway tensioner, which would sit something like that, and then you would, pick your lock. Let's get this one open while we're here. There we go, give that one a wave rake. And the other end of the turning tool is designed for keyways that have a more recessed keyway. As you can see, this red 1100 padlock is more recessed, whereas this one is flush. So I think we could probably get away with a shorter end still in that one, but if you've got a really deep keyway, then you could use that in top of the keyway like that. We could also use it as a bottom of the keyway. It slides in the bottom of the keyway like that, and that hopefully gives you enough room to single pin pick. So speaking of single pin picking, I think we'll probably pick this 1100 as well. I like to use a sort of medium hook, so let's try and get that one out. It's a little bit fiddly to get these out, I think, because someone did say, a few people actually said in the comments, that these screws have been done up really tightly, and indeed for all of the Covert Companion, but it does come with a little Allen key just in there, so you can loosen them off if you want it, to be a bit looser. I've just not gotten around to doing that just yet. So let's try single pin picking. So we'll get this in the top of the keyway like that. Feel through. I'll try and get this one open. These 1100s do have serrated pins in them, so they can be a little bit tricky to pick sometimes. Hopefully I won't embarrass myself on camera too much. Let's feel what we're doing. Get a few clicks. And there we go, we got that one picked. So now we've looked at all of those tools, let's have a look at the costs. At the time of recording this video, the Covert Companion Pro is for sale on the Covert Instruments website for $150 plus shipping. At today's exchange rate, that translates to 128 euros plus shipping, or 110 British pounds plus shipping. I think it's more expensive than the original Covert Companion when that came out. I think when I reviewed this particular tool, which was a couple of years ago, it was retailing for $90 plus shipping. So is that worth it? I don't know, only you can decide really. It comes with a whole bunch of tools. And I think, as with the original review I did on this tool, if you were to add up all of these tools separately, all the warded picks and jigglers and tension tools and picks and cone picks and dimple rake and everything that comes with it, could you get all of that for $150 plus shipping? I think maybe you probably could, but it wouldn't be all wrapped up in one neat package. But only you can decide if that alone makes it worth it. Before we wrap up this review, I thought we'd look at a list of pros and cons, or at least a list of pros and cons that I've found. This isn't an extensive list. I unboxed this on the channel about a week ago, and I've been playing with it quite a lot since then, bypassing tools and single pin picking and that sort of thing, just generally having to play with it. These are some of my thoughts, and hopefully they'll help you consider whether or not you want to buy the tool yourself. So let's look at cons first. I think it is expensive. It is expensive compared to the old tool. That's going to put a lot of people off. You can buy these tools separately. It is a consideration. Some people do have, a budget for the hobby, and maybe that's going to put you off. Next up, when I unboxed this, you'll see from the unboxing video, I'll leave a link to it in the description. It was really greasy. I was opening up all the tools. And you can see that the case of the tool just got shinier and shinier, and my fingers just got slicker and slicker. It was a little bit comical. I think that it doesn't need that much grease on it. The steel used is stainless steel. It's not going to rust. It doesn't need that amount of grease on it. It's not the end of the world, because as I was playing with the tools, each time you sort of open it up and use the tools, that grease kind of rubs off. And I don't really have a problem with it now, but out of the box it did put me off a little bit. What else? The bypass tool, I I did show that working earlier, and I have been using this to bypass padlocks, as I showed with this one, but I've also been using it to pick dimple locks, and I understand that's not the correct use, but it's either sort of chrome or nickel plated, and a lot of that plating has just come off. I don't think it's going to affect the functionality of the tool. But having only used it, relatively lightly for the past week, yeah, it's not the best that it's come off like that. Maybe they can look at changing that in the future. The other thing is it's not expandable in the same way that the original Covert Companion was. This is stock, this one here, but some people would just extend these bolts so that they ended up really long. I've got another sort of one there, and you can sort of end up with a tool that's kind of unfeasibly long and kind of add all sorts of tools to it. So I've seen people add tools that open lever locks and things like that, which was really great. That expandability was a plus point for the original Covert Companion. Now, although you can swap out tools, I imagine you've just got to undo this bolt here and you can put different tools in there. I think that you couldn't expand it in the same way. You couldn't make it any bigger than it is at the moment. You can just sort of customize it for your own particular needs. And the last con that I thought of was the single pin picking tool, the FU tool, folding utility pick. I did find, as I said earlier, that it's a little bit small. Let's just get one of these hooks out. It's a little bit small if you've got larger hands to single pin pick with. I mean, it's a bit thicker, so it is a bit more comfortable. But let me grab one of the, this is a Covert Companion tool. This is an Apex pick that they do. And you can just see there, this handle is actually really quite tiny. I find these picks nice and comfortable. Let me just reach for a tape measure so I can give you some measurements on the FU pick. So overall it's about 4.5 inches, but that handle is, I think, is about 2.5 inches, which is really, really small for for a pick handle. That doesn't mean it's not usable. I have seen a video by Georgia Jim, and I'll link that below, where he used this pick to pick locks up to black belt level if you follow the LPU belt system. Basically, it means that you've got easy locks all the way up to really, really difficult locks, and Jim was able to use this tool to pick all of those locks. So yeah, I mean, it does come down to your abilities. So let's have a look at the pros that I found with this tool. If I can get this pick folded back in. It's really fun. I've really enjoyed using it. I really enjoyed the original Covert Companion. But yeah, the fun fidget factor of this tool is not to be underestimated. It's, just, I found myself just sort of sitting there watching TV, and I'll just be opening it and closing it and fanning out the tools. It's a really nice weight. So yeah, there's a fun factor to it, and you're not going to get that fun factor from just buying all of these tools separately. And equally, everything is in one place. You don't have a bag, you haven't got a sort of stand or a pick case, where all of your tools are kept in. All of those EDC or everyday carry tools are there in the palm of your hand or hooked onto your belt. It's nice to have everything in one place. Another pro on this is that I think it's really, really well made. I do appreciate good engineering, and I can see, there's just so much thought has gone into this. I can tell it's really gone through many R&D meetings, research and development meetings, to change things and move things around and get everything to just fit in there, really in a quite, satisfying way. And I think that's a real plus point. There are plenty of tools out there, multi-tools and the like, that are not well made, and that makes them less usable. Another plus point, I think easy to carry. I guess that was covered by the other points. It is worth saying, actually, it does come with a couple of spare pieces in there, which I didn't show, a couple of spare screws. And also, if you don't like this belt loop, belt hook tool, there are a couple of Allen key bolts there. You take those out, this slides out, and you can either put a blanking plate in there, which means that you won't have that hole, it'll just be flush, or you can put there's another one that comes with it with a little hole in it, so you could put it on, like, I don't know, a keychain or something like that. And what else have we got? Lots of tools that come with it. I think that you've got so many different options. You've got the bypassing tools, you've got all the single pin picks. And unless you expanded your old Covert Companion, the picks that came with those, you just came with 2 hooks, I think. And yeah, it was really quite unwieldy. The whole thing just wobbled around. And although you can, single pin pick with it, I think I used to hold it something like that, it wasn't as well made as that folding utility pick, albeit short, is. Anyway, so there you go. That is my review of the Covert Companion Pro. I hope you found that useful. Do you have this tool? What do you think of it? Are you thinking of buying it? What are your reservations about buying it? And if you don't like it, indeed, just add your comment down below. I'd still be interested in reading that. Thanks for watching today, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.